Previously on Homesteadhow, my family and I moved our old tiny woodshed and we started building this huge, massive woodshed. And we made a lot of progress. We got the big pillars in, and boy, was this thing way taller than I thought just looking at my Google SketchUp drawing. But it's going to be one heck of a woodshed, and you want to see how this thing turns out. This is the final episode. We're going to put it all together for you right now, and boy, does this thing turn out awesome. So stay tuned till the end, and Emma and myself work on this third phase together. Let's see how it goes. If you're new to our channel, thanks for stopping by. I'll leave some links to the previous two videos. This is the final video in our ultimate woodshed build. Why do we want an ultimate woodshed? Well, we heat our entire homestead and our Airbnb rental and all of our water with firewood, and we never had enough space for it with our previous woodshed. So this should be plenty large, and the other benefit of this one is I can back our pickup truck into the woodshed, dump off all of the stumps and big pieces of wood, and cut them up and split them and have it all in one area. So here I'm marking for the bird's mouth cut. I need to do 3 of these. These rafters are 20 feet long, and each will have 3 bird's mouth cuts in them. So it has to be very accurate, so I'm setting the board up and marking it. So I'm using this little saw to cut this way. And I have it set on an angle, and I have the right depth just for this part. You could use one saw, but then you got to keep resetting it. And then I use this saw to cut this way, and then I get it close, and then I finish it with this one. So I'll show you on this one over here. I've already cut this with the other saw, and that was when it was like this. You can see there's a little angle to it, so I don't have to keep resetting the saw. Now I got to cut this line off all the way to there, but I don't want to go all the way through it.
Another 2x4. So now,
this is our master. Although I'm going to keep checking it because I don't know how square it is, but I'm going to use this to make the next one. We're putting the first one up. Hopefully it fits.
What?
I was talking to my camera. Alright, so we have our first. Look at that. Beautiful. Emma and I are making good progress. Emma's being a very good carnivore helper. We got all of these up, and I'm putting them up, and we're doing the bird's mouth notch, and they're sitting just beautifully on there. And then I'm using a metal bracket. You can kind of see them right there. I'm trying to back this in so I can reach the back.
a little more. Look at that beauty.
We have all the bird's mouths, holding each of those on in 3 spots. Now I'm going to put the knee bracing in, which is going to be a little corner brace right there and there and there and there. These I secured with some very long and very expensive timber screws that are often used when putting together a log cabin, so they're very long screws.
Looks good. Okay.
We got that board up perfectly, and now we're going to put our first piece of plywood up. I don't know how, but we're going to do it, right, Emma?
Yeah.
circular saw. I really like this thing. It's a lot easier to handle than the big circular saw. Just go like this, push it, and then you get more slack. So it's right by your side, just this little 6 foot or so, and that has this system on it. So if you ever fall, it'll arrest your stop. Really good peace of mind. I don't like heights, and I'm able to move around up there and feel really secure with it.
Look how good it looks.
So we have all of our decking up for our roof, and now we're going to be putting up tar paper. And then we'll be putting up the Ondura Roofing, which we can see over here. This is the Ondura Roofing. Really nice because it's easy to handle. It's lightweight. You're not going to cut yourself like you would with metal. Comes in nice big pieces,
that's nice.
but they're not too wide, so you can put a piece down and you can screw it all in. And here's what the screws look like. You put the screws on the ridges, not in the valleys, and on the first row on the bottom you put it in every single one, and then you go up and then you put it in every other one. And then you just overlap them. It's that easy. You can cut this with a knife, like this, right down the valley,
Like the
or
greenhouse.
you can cut it with a circular saw. So I want my Ondura Roofing to overhang 2 inches, so I'm using a tape measure, putting a screw through, and then I'm pulling a line across the back here, 2 inches out. So down on the ground, we actually put a bunch of screws through the bottom row just to make sure they're straight. I really want everything to be nice and straight. And now here you can see all the tar paper I put up yesterday, and it's really windy out. So actually some of the tar paper blew off. I had to staple it back down. But here I'm putting a foam closure strip through each of those screws, and that'll stop any wasps or bugs from going up in there. So I'm going to do that on all of these, on the top and bottom. So while you're watching me put this roof together, I had Jen put the foam closure strips on below, and then she'd hand them up to me. And you can see I've got some boards missing on the back of the shed. Initially I pulled the bucket through the back because I can't get around, and used it to access the roof. And it's amazing how fast this roofing material goes together. I've used the same material on my dog kennel 5 or 6 years ago, and it's held up wonderfully. I really like the material because, unlike metal, it doesn't make a whole bunch of racket when it rains out, and that was something we wanted for our dog kennel. We didn't want the dogs to be scared by the loud rain hitting the metal. The other thing I like is it's so easy to install. I always end up cutting my hand on the metal, or you have to pre-drill all the metal holes, and it's just a lot of work. You usually got to have like an angle grinder. This stuff you can just cut with a razor knife. I'll show you that here in a second. But this whole roof, this is a big roof. It doesn't look like it from this angle. It's very high and big. This is a deceiving angle. I put this whole roof together in maybe an hour and 15 minutes. I never came down off of the roof. I started and I finished the whole roof. Maybe an hour and a half total. So it was pretty amazing. And it's a great roof. I know it's going to last for a long time. Really easy to install. Just put the screws in. That's all you got to do. So on the bottom we put screws in every single peak. There's peaks and valleys in the corrugation. And then for the next row I went up about halfway and I put one in every other one. And the directions are very simple. They got some diagrams to show you exactly how to do it. And I had to do very few cuts because I planned this out in Google SketchUp, so it went pretty smooth. So if you notice on my first row here on the bottom, I used a full width piece, and I ended up cutting one on the left side of the first row. So now for the second row on the right, I'm using a cut piece. So it's kind of staggered that way. It goes together really quickly. I guess one piece of advice is to make sure your screws line up straight. I'm very particular about that. The second row here I used a chalk line. Took me an extra 30 seconds to do a chalk line. Now I have a nice straight row of screws there forever. Here I am cutting a piece, and you could use a circular saw. I just used a razor knife, and I kind of rested my hands along the ridges to keep it nice and straight, and then you just snap it, and that's it. Really easy. So our Ondura Roofing and the entire Woodshed project really turned out nice. I love how this roofing looks. I like the fact that it's not metal and it's not going to be very loud. I want to eventually replace the roofing adjacent on my garage because it's getting old and rusty and it's loud when it rains, and I'm not going to have that problem with the Ondura Roofing. And so here's some final thoughts from me and Emma. And when Emma helped me work on this wood shed, you did the best job you possibly could. Seriously. I don't know if it's because you're carnivore,
I'm pretty awesome.
I don't know if it's because you're carnivore or you're left-handed. On this project, she was anticipating things, and she was handing me boards, and she was getting everything done, and she was carrying these big 20-pound things around. Good job.